Mercury retrograde season is set to be a really important part of this larger move that we have taking place for the collective and as part of our individual journeys as well. And that is between one area of life to another, between Pisces and Aries. This is where massive shifts are underway this year. Well, it is this Mercury retrograde season that's going to help us to make the most of it. Well, it is this Mercury retrograde season that's going to help us to make sense of it. It's going to help us to understand intellectually, to work out what ideas are presenting themselves to us so that we can find ways to communicate, to express, and ultimately to allow an understanding to sink in so that we make the most of these powerful transitions that we are in the midst of now, collectively and as part of your own individual journeys. It is going to be on the 1st or 2nd of March, depending on where you are on the planet, that Mercury steps into shadow and immediately is hand in hand with the North Node as Mercury steps into shadow, and then also connects with Neptune as well. So right out of the gate, there's this sense of karmicness to whatever might be happening now, but it's also a seed moment. It's the very beginning of us having a soul level understanding of just what it is we're moving towards, and moving towards whatever it is that we can also carry spirit to, knowing that ultimately the energy is moving in directions of empowerment, of feeling lit up, of feeling a renewed sense of enthusiasm that maybe many of us haven't appreciated in a while. And so one area of life, dreamy, that's what we start this week. And then the area of life that gets so lit up starting on Monday is the energy of Aries, where later this month, Neptune will move into, later this year, Saturn will move into. We're having a Venus retrograde in full effect that's also going back and forth between these two areas of life as well. And so what area of life this week are you likely to experience a seed moment? That it becomes that much more important to pay attention, because sometimes those beginnings can be very subtle, but ultimately can allow a pathway for you to move towards greater love, greater wisdom, but also karmic blessings of all kinds, because that's what happens when the North Node is activated. It is as if a doorway opens from which new people, places, things, situations enter, which represent karmic blessings. That's what's on offer now, but it's ultimately also part of how the focus is going to change. And it is as Mercury changes signs that we'll come to understand how to take an awareness of, or the beginning of, certain karmic contracts and run with it, find enthusiasm within it. Well, how this speaks to you depends on your sun, moon, and rising sign. Take all three into consideration and then synthesize the information to make it unique to you. And for lots more horoscopes, of course, check out my YouTube channel, Nadiya Shah, and the Superstar horoscopes over at thefutureismagical.com. Aries, Mercury moving from the sign just before yours and into your sign is like you really awakening from a space of sleep and into some hyper awareness of yourself. It's like the dream space is especially vivid and showing you how new beginnings can come hand in hand with appreciating your connection to source. And then you get lit up. You feel more brilliant than you have in a while. It becomes that much easier to learn, but also to express yourself, to share your truth more unabashedly. Taurus, friendship, group endeavors, these are where some of the more powerful soul contracts and karmic contracts exist, and new people entering now can be part of moving you towards greater love and greater wisdom. Once Mercury changes signs, well, that's when Mercury moves into a part of the sky for you that has to do with what's happening on levels of soul, psyche, and spirit. This is where you just might start feeling just downright prophetic. It feels like there's all this inspiration. You feel more plugged into source, more aware of and available to universal love that you're able to bring forward in just about every area of life. Gemini, your ruling planet, will meet the North Node at the top of your sky, having to do with career and life purpose. This is the very beginning of new pathways that could be opening up for you. New connections you make now may open up greater opportunity to you, especially in the fullness of time, though those initial meetings might be decidedly subtle. For all that, once Mercury changes signs, the other part of the sky, that part of this Mercury retrograde season is set to take place in, has to do with friendships and group alliances. Random reintroductions, reconnections with friends, some of whom you might have lost touch with long ago, and very much synchronistically, like in happenstance, you're just walking along in a totally other city, the last place where you expected to run into somebody and have a spontaneous reunion. Well, that's exactly where they are, and it's who you least expected. Cancer, the North Node and Mercury will meet in a part of the sky for you that is decidedly worldly. It has to do with understanding your place in the world, long distance travel, immigration, citizenship, and higher learning here. Remember, this is about new beginnings, seeds being planted, and where you never expected to actually feel like you wanted to go travel or actually think that you want to go back and get a higher degree. Well, that possibility starts to awaken for you now. For all that, once Mercury changes signs, moves into the top of your sky, get ready for a renewed sense of ambition and focus, a determination and enthusiasm for where it is that you're going in a higher sense. And this could be reconnecting with bosses, people in positions of authority, or opportunities you thought were gone. Well, they just might come back around as part of a characteristic of this larger Mercury retrograde season that's going to take us all the way to the middle of April. Leo, profound change, truth, transformation, and wealth. These are the seeds being planted now. You could meet people where it feels like a profound or transformative experience, moment, or connection. But this is also about being able to access resources, where wealth might come from. This could be the very beginning seed moment of greater wealth than you've known before. Once Mercury changes signs, well, that is a very worldly part of your sky. You might find yourself having random interactions with previous professors or people whom you saw as mentors at one time. This can also be surprise reunions with people that you interacted with in institutes of higher learning, or when you least expected it, you get a chance to go back to revisit a place far away and you didn't even know how much you missed it till you got there. Virgo, partnership and love. This is where the very beginnings lie. Whether it is that you are in an established bond and this is the start of a new understanding and renewed connection and the seed that allows a stronger love to take place, or you meeting someone brand spanking new that ends up being a part of someone that really shows you something about what love is meant to be for you. Well, those beginnings become that much more possible as we start this week. For all that, though, once Mercury changes signs, moves into a wealth and intimacy part of your sky, it's about being more vulnerable with yourself and with others, working towards and having renewed opportunity to find deeper understanding towards meaningful change. And also, by happenstance, you just might be able to access more funding, higher credit limits, and scholarships or benefits you qualify for. Well, they can fall into place very quickly. Libra, your work situation, work opportunities, clients, customers, coworkers, those new connections that are rooted in what you've well established do well, well, those can open up for you now. But remember, it may not be obvious right away. You meet somebody rather casually, while in the fullness of time, they may end up being a very good client or opening up work-related opportunities for you. For all that, once it is that we have Mercury changing signs into your opposite sign, this brings a focus on love, whether reconnecting with loves from the past or whether it is new bonds that are very much like people that you knew long ago. Or maybe it is that you get a chance to talk out and finally resolve matters that have been pushed under the rug in an established bond. Well, your partner or potential partner is going to take on greater focus. Scorpio, Mercury is meeting the North Node in a part of the sky that has to do with the romance, flirtation, what the heart wants in every area of life. Getting your flirt on could be an opening on a level of soul and can provide a moment, a seed that ultimately does allow greater love to rush in, whether or not it's with that specific person. But this can also be a doorway opening, which will allow greater opportunities in the context of sharing your creativity as well. Now, once Mercury changes signs, well, that is when Mercury moves into a part of the sky having to do with your daily life, your clients, customers, coworkers, and random run-ins with one of these people or more than one that you knew way back in the day could happen in the most unexpected places. But this can also be work opportunities you thought were gone, projects you thought were not going to be for you coming back around. But this can also be a renewed interest in and strengthening of your health-related habits. Sagittarius, home, the past, your living situation, your family of origin. It's like new pathways, but it's based in what's well rooted or where you want to be well rooted. So whether that is the potential to move, to be in a new home, or it is the potential to go home, to be home more, well, those opportunities can feel like they start to get some sense of possibility for you now. Maybe people you knew way back in the day from your childhood reemerge. Once Mercury changes signs, romance, flirtation, and fun and happiness, well, this starts to be that much more important. And in particular, running into lovers from the past, not relationship people, but people where maybe there was a fling, maybe there was a bit of dating. Well, yeah, those types of people, they could just present themselves to you in the most unexpected way in the weeks ahead. Capricorn, the North Node and Mercury are meeting in a part of the sky that has to do with communication, but also your siblings, cousins, and neighbors. And so this represents a chance to get to know these particular people more deeply, or maybe where it is there hasn't been a lot of contact with some of these people, out of nowhere, through happenstance, you find some of those connections. It is also these people who might be part of opening up greater opportunity for you in unexpected ways. Going forward from here, when you least expected it, they are the ones that point the way to where greater blessings might be for you. Once Mercury changes signs, the other part of the sky that is lit up with Mercury retrograde has to do with what's happening at the foundation of your chart. Home, the past, the living situation, your family of origin, your parents in particular. Lots of surprise reunions, but this is also a chance to have another look at your past, to reconcile with it and find power that you previously just didn't know. Once Mercury changes signs, well, Mercury moving into the foundation of your chart will help you to reconnect with people from your childhood, but also to see the past very differently, more lovingly as well. Aquarius, Mercury goes into shadow in a financial part of your sky, having to do with money you earn, money you spend, self-love, self-esteem, and whether it is new ideas or new pathways of revenues that open up for you. Ultimately, this is about putting you on a pathway towards greater prosperity than you've known before. And someone you meet now very casually could be a part of you generating more income, or even outside of money, maximizing self-love for you in a key way. Once Mercury changes signs, moves into a mind-oriented part of the sky for you, but it's also about siblings, cousins, and neighbors. So whether it is a renewed interest in things that maybe you let go a while ago, reading certain books out of nowhere, they present themselves to you that you used to love back in the day, or a sibling, cousin, neighbor, opening up a sense of new ideas, well, all of that becomes possible now. Pisces, having the North Node and Mercury meet in your sign is the illumination of some truth about you, some insight, some understanding about who you are, what matters to you most and first. And it could be now that the seeds are planted for you to find brand new ways of self-identification that end up being deeply meaningful. Once Mercury changes signs as part of this larger Mercury retrograde season, well, it becomes about exploring and considering how you've gone about making money, what you've done, what's worth doing, what isn't, and maybe what it is you could return to generate income for yourself. Now, this could also be very powerful for affirming and deeply rooting healthy self-love in the process. Thank you for watching. It'll be a great week. Enjoy.